Good morning, students. Welcome back for your online classes for English. How are you all? Hope all of you are very well at your home. And if you have remembered, in our last lecture, we have studied all about your finite and non-finite verbs. And I have explained you everything about the finite verbs, what are finite verbs and what they actually function. So in today's video, we will learn more about your non-finite verbs. We left our video last time that non-finite verbs are segregated into three parts: gerund, infinitives and past participles. So without wasting your time, let's just start. Remember what we have already learned. Now, non-finite verbs divided into three main parts. First, it's your gerund. Second, infinitives. The third, participles. So today we will understand infinitive, gerund, participles, every topic. Let's start with infinitive. So basically, students, infinitive, it is not the main verb in the sentence. How finite usually perform in a sentence? Finite was your main verb in a sentence. It actually performs the action in a sentence. But in infinitives, it is not the main verb in the sentence. It means it can come after your main verb or after one clause from your sentence also, but it will not work as your main verb. It does not change as per tense, number or person also. If you have remembered that in finite verbs, what we have learned, that your verb can change according to the number, person, tense. If you remember, Ram go to Patna or Ram goes to Patna. Very good. Ram goes to Patna. Go changed its form according to the singular or plural subject. Right now Ram is a singular, so your verb becomes singular by adding ses. But in infinitive, what you will find, that it usually created by adding to plus base form of your verb. To plus base form of your verb. For example, run. Run is a verb. But if it comes in a sentence with to run, then it becomes your infinitive verb. Do you remember the last exercise which I have shared with you all in as an assignment in your last lecture? There I have given you some sentences where you have to differentiate between the finite and non-finite verbs, the infinitives. So I believe if you have remembered the first example, I like to play or I like to read. So like is the main verb, but to play, to read, it is your another verb which does not perform as a verb. It works just as a normal word. So if any verb comes in a sentence by following to and with a base form, it becomes our infinitive. The example you can see: to run, to play, to eat. These can be the examples of your infinitive. So hope it is clear to you. But remember, students, uses of infinitives. What is actually the use of infinitives? It is, as I said, it is not used as a verb. It means it is it will not change their forms according to the number, person or tense. So what is the work of infinitive? Infinitive actually works as noun, adjective and sometimes as an adverb. As it's not going to work as a verb, so it works as noun, adjective or adverb. How? Let's check. So when your infinitives used as a noun, it means it becomes a word which gives you more information about your main subject, main noun, or it gives you the quality, or sometimes it can come at the place of your subject also. For example, Sia likes to play. Sia likes. Likes is our main verb here. To play. Now play is about, it's at the place of object, and object is always same as our subject. So it means it becomes our noun here. So this infinitive work as a noun. I want to write. To write, it becomes our noun. To dance is her hobby. Now to dance, it becomes our infinitive and it performs as an action, as a noun. Now just go ahead and let's see some more examples about infinitives which can be used as adjectives. When it can be used as adjectives, when it will give you more information about the subject, about the doer, who does the action. I have no time. I have no time to eat. Who don't have time to eat? I. And I is our main subject. And you are getting more information, more knowledge about I here. So it becomes your adjectives. That was a game to watch. That was a game to watch. Adjectives usually comes after your object. So to watch comes after game. That is our subject. Was performs like here as an verb, helping verb. A game becomes our object and to watch becomes our adjective and after the object also. I told you to wait. I told you. Complete sentence. Subject, verb and object. To wait. It becomes our adjective. Very good. Let's see the last one also. Infinitives used as adverb. Now simply adverb, it means it gives you more information about verb. Basically you will see in this kind of sentences you will find to plus base form of verb just after the main verb. She reads, to gain. Her voice is pleasant, to hear. The new soldiers were ready, to listen. So you will find this kind of words just after your verb and it becomes our adverb. So hope students you have understood the work of infinitive as a noun, as adverb, as adjective. So let's come to the another case. There are some exceptional cases. All of us are aware that whenever we talk about some rules or some kind of facts and figures, always we find some exceptional cases are there. So the very same way infinitives do have exceptional cases. Right now we have heard that in infinitives what is the possibility that we always get to plus base form, but there are the exceptional cases where to is not used. You simply get the base form. It means the first form of the verb, but that verb is not work as verb. It is just a normal word. It can be an adjective, adverb or a noun at that place. And these kind of infinitives are called bare infinitives. If you will see your book very carefully on your book, you will find on page number 66. You will find on page number 66 the explanation from A point to D point. From A to D point, you will find all the information is already given in your book. So when you read about that word, you will easily understand the bare infinitives, but still we'll see some examples. For example, she made me cry. She made me, she subject, made verb, me object. Cry. Cry is a verb, but here it does not action as a verb. It is just a infinitive. Now when we talk about I heard him sing a song, a lovely song. So I heard him, already a completed sentence. Sing, another verb is there, but it is working as an infinitive. So hope you have understood about the bare infinitive case also. Let's move forward students. Now remembering that what we have learned so far, non-finitives divided into how many parts? 3 parts. Gerund, infinitives and participles. We have already understood about infinitives. Now what we will study next? We will study about what is participles. If all of you are already sitting with your books, kindly open your book, come to the page number 66. Yes, open your book, come to page number 66. There it is already written that a participle is a word that does not work of both an adjective and a verb. So basically what is participle? It is not the main verb in the sentence. It does not function as verb in the sentence. It functions as adjective in the sentence. Remember, it is not the main verb. It does not function as a verb. So what it function as? It function as adjectives in the sentence. Let's see how. For example, when we talk about participle, participles are already segregated into three parts. What are those? Present, past and perfect participle. Present, past and perfect participle. You have already heard about present, past. When we talk about present participle, it basically comes with the verb plus ing. Now remember students, you might have already gone through with your book. You have seen that gerund. Gerunds are very common because it always followed by ing. Whenever you add ing with verb, it becomes our gerund. But don't get confused. Present participle is a bit different. How it's different? For example, if you will see, it is written, I really, you can see this example, I really like this dancing doll. Now try to understand, I really like this. Your main verb is like. Very good. Dancing doll. I really like this. It's a present situation. And what is the participle used here? Dancing doll. If you go for another example, he jumped from a running train. Jump is your main verb, but jumped, it's already the past form. It means someone already jumped from a running train. When we talk about a running train, it means that train is still running. It means you talk about a present participle. He sold. Again, when we talk about sold, it's a past tense. But working machine, he sold his working machine. He sold his working. Working means it's still working. Working does not mean that it was worked at that time and now it's not working. It is still working. So this kind of word becomes our present participle. If you go ahead and just let's see about your past participle. Past participle already understood with the name only, that the broken glass cut my foot. The broken glass cut my foot. Now you don't have to get confused. Broken is the adjective which is used for glass. It's not our main verb. What is our main verb? Main verb is cut only. The burnt toast tasted awful. The burnt toast tasted awful. Again, burned, jale hue toast. The burnt toast, that is then adjective for toast. But how it tasted? Tasted awfully. That is our main verb. The very same way, a tired person. They have given you an adjective about that person. A tired person can't be productive. Can't be is our main verb here. So basically the point is here, you will find your past participle mostly just before your noun, before your subject, so that you will understand that they have given you the quality or more knowledge or information about your noun, about your subject, and thereafter if a verb is used in that sentence, that becomes our main verb, and you will find that these adjectives are used in past form. So that is the reason it becomes our past participle. Hope it is understood to you students. Don't get confused. If you will see carefully here, if you can see our past participles, it's in a past form. But in this video, if you will see dancing, ing form, running, ing form, working, ing form. So wherever you find this in ing form after your main verb, it becomes our present participle. So hope it is understood to you. Let's move ahead and talk about perfect participle. Perfect participle simply means students that the action is already completed. There are two possibilities in an active sentence. It is having plus the third verb, and in passive sentence it's having been plus third verb. Let's see some examples. For example, in active form of perfect participle. Active form of perfect participle. Active means having plus verbs third form. Having edited this video, I started uploading it. I started uploading it. It means first I have to edit. Once my editing function is completed, then only I can start uploading this video. It means I have already done that action. Having edited, it is our perfect participle, and then I started uploading it our main sentence. Having finished my homework, I went to play. First I have to finish my homework, then only I can go to play. So this becomes our example of perfect participle from active. Now let's talk about passive form of our perfect participle. It is followed by having been plus verb's third form. Having been defeated. Now you just check carefully, having been, but after that verb's third form, defeated. He fled away. Having been bitten up, he began to cry. Having been bitten up. So you will, whenever you find these kind of statements, these kind of sentences, you just have to recall in your mind that whether it's a present participle, past participle or perfect participle. The participle can be performed in only these three ways. So when we have already completed our infinitives, our participles, now the only thing which is remaining, that is our gerund. Don't get confused by the name what like gerund, it's a very strange name. No, gerund is basically adding ing to the verb's first form. When we use a verb in a place of a noun, remember, when we use a verb in place of a noun, you might have seen that singing is a good habit. Right now you see, whenever we make a sentence, subject plus verb plus object, singing is at the place of subject, but it is not a noun, it is not a subject, but it is a verb. Sing is a verb, but right now it is at the place of subject or a noun, and it is a verb. This becomes our gerund, and for gerund we always have to add ing to the base form. Let's see some more examples. Before you see some more example, let's just talk about subject and object. If your subject can either be noun or pronoun. You are already understood that either it can be a name, or instead of using name we can use he, she, whatsoever as a pronoun also. Subject cannot have any other form. You know that for a subject, when we talk about a noun, if I talk about myself, I am a teacher, I can use the teacher, I, or my name for me. But can I use teachering or my name as a anything, or you can call as eyeing? No, I cannot use. Subject cannot have any other form. For example, Karthik goes to swimming regularly. Karthik is a name here. Instead of Karthik, I can use only he, as it's a male. But I cannot use any other form of verb or any other form of this subject. So how it actually works? For example, I am putting one word, swimming is good for health. Now you just check, swimming is good for health. They have given you a statement, but if we think for that formula, subject plus verb plus object, so at the place of subject, what you find? You find swimming. So have you ever heard about swimming is a subject or a noun? No. But for this statement, it works as a noun. So when your verb behave as a noun in a sentence, it mostly becomes our gerund, because it must be followed by ing. If you want to see some more example, gerund as a subject, writing is an exchange of idea, reading help us a lot in learning new things. Or you can make another sentences also. If we can take some examples from your book, they have written many things over here. Skiing in a winter sport, an exciting time was had by all, like this. So hope students, once you will go through with your book, you just open your book, read the chapter very carefully from page number 65, 66, 67, 68. You will be able to understand this chapter in very well. Uses of gerund as a subject, as object, as complement of verb to be is already given in your book also. I'll quickly just explain. As a subject, when it comes at the place of subject, either it can come at the place of object. Subject we have already just you have seen some examples. These are the examples as a gerund, as a subject. Writing is an exchange of idea, reading help us lot in learning new things. But when you talk about as object, It means it will come at the place of object followed by ing. I love dancing, Mark enjoy cooking, or that is a good painting, like this. So gerund is not something which makes you confused. It's a very easy thing. The last point, gerund as complement of verb to be. To be verbs are in present when we talk about is, am, are, in past when we talk about was, were. So Kriti's favorite hobby is playing the piano. Competition is trying to do better than your opponent. If you will find, you can see whenever we will follow these ing form verbs after our to be words, then it becomes our gerund as complement. Gerund as complement of verb to be. So hope students this chapter is understood to you in well manner, and if still you have any doubts, you can please ask to me in your Google Meet. But I have taken the help from your YouTube. There are many videos are over there, but I have taken some clips from one video, and I think it is very easy to understand for everyone. So just go through with your chapter. If you find any difficulties, please come back in the Google Meet class. Thank you, students.